Welcome, one and all, to the In Good Company show on the Manchester local TV channel. Yes, we have a very quiet bunch of guys tonight, today to talk about an interesting game yesterday and a couple of other things we're going to have a chat about. Joining me today, obviously, we've got Stuart. Stuart, how are you, mate? How did you celebrate yesterday's festivities?
Well, started early, 9:30 with my lad in the pub for breakfast, and then up to the ground, had a chilled out day in the ground, nice little sing song and that, and then back to Weatherspoons in Sale afterwards, and then had a kebab at about 10 o'clock last night, I think.
Yeah, they probably didn't let you out till 10 o'clock last night, did they? It seemed to be in forever last night after the game.
I think it's about 40 minutes or something afterwards, but it was all good fun, so it don't really matter, does it, when you've won?
Yeah, and now we go interesting. I'm going to go to a guy now who obviously went straight home after watching the match. Had a cocoa, got his dressing gown on, put strictly on for the night, and probably enjoyed himself. Paul, I'm not talking about Abdul. I'm talking about Paul, obviously.
All right,
Paul,
okay.
So how did you enjoy it, Paul?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I've got one of my next door neighbours is a rag, so I like to dress his house up with blue flags when we win. So. He had a bit of a bonfire night do there last night, so I kind of moseyed on down to that with my family. Every single one of us dressed in City shirts and hats, and all their family turned up United fans. So it was great banter, as you could imagine.
Absolutely fantastic. And of course, we've got with us at the moment, we've got Abdul with us, mate. I mean, I know you've got a lot of United fan mates over there. How did you celebrate?
I don't know about you guys, but after that win and after seeing everybody on social media, especially United fans, we have just been riling up United fans on Twitter. Every City fan just spamming the scores in every United account, and obviously some of my mates as well are also United, so I just laughed at their faces.
Fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the teams anyway. Let's have a quick look at the City team first of all. I'll ask you guys what you think. I don't think there was too many shocks in this, to be honest with you. Let's get the City team on the day: Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Stones, and Cancelo. Rodri, Gundogan, Bernardo, Jesus, KDB, and Foden. Personally, I got 10 of those when I was looking at my team for my little things that I do. Obviously, but I did say I would be quite happy with Jesus in for Grealish. So I'll call it 10.5, guys. I mean, I'll come to you, Paul, first. What do you think of that lineup, mate? Was it pretty much what you thought?
It's pretty much what I wanted. I think I think it's 10 out of 10 from what I said last week. I think you'll find I was 100% right with the team selection. I'm going to say that now because nobody will have recorded.
I'm going to check later, mate. So I'm sorry. I will hang you out to dry.
We can always edit that. We can edit that now. But yeah, no, I was glad to see certain players on the bench. As I say, they went with KDB. I didn't know whether he was going to start or not. But you know what? I'm glad they did, to be honest, because I think you said last week that they'd be feared of him. To be honest with you, they were afraid of their own shadows yesterday, though, weren't they? So
yeah, we'll go into the details in a minute. Abdul, mate, there was a bit of a rumour that Walker had picked up an injury, didn't want there, Abdul? I mean, I was so thankful that we hadn't, because we sort of would normally need his pace at the back. Obviously, in hindsight, it probably didn't. I mean, I could have played it at the back, and we probably would have been okay yesterday. To be honest, all right, I'm pushing it a bit. I know that, guys. So Abdul, I mean, we're happy with that 11 with Walker starting.
Yes, I was very happy. It's a great thing that Walker didn't get that injury. Obviously, it was very doubtful that he might not play because, obviously, as you said, we do need a space with Cancelo at the back. For De Bruyne, obviously, I did not expect him to be in there because, obviously, he hasn't been picking up his phone. But Pep, obviously, he's a genius, so obviously, he thought of De Bruyne as a fear factor for United, and he showed that. I believe there was a stat where he created 4 big chances against United. And about the front three, that was perfect. Pep perfected the front three, so I'm happy with the team selection he made.
Yeah, I mean, he raised a point there, Stuart, and obviously I was thinking about KDB. He's not having the greatest of times, but I think we sort of said last week he's there for the fear factor rather than the fact he's in form anyway, and you're always going to play him. I mean, KDB as well, mate. Well, Stuart, do you think that was a fair 11?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a quality team. Seen it in the pub when it came up, and everyone was happy with it. I was surprised to see De Bruyne starting because I didn't think it. I thought he's not going to start him because he's obviously got something wrong with him somewhere. I thought he played really well yesterday, though, so I'm glad I was wrong on that one. And I was not surprised, to see Grealish left out because I think he struggled, and he struggles out wide. I think he needs to be played more centrally. But let's see what happens in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, well, let's have a quick look at the United team yesterday. We've got obviously De Gea. Hey, well, no problem there. I might just read out the ratings in a local paper for United yesterday, just for an extra laugh sort of thing, guys. But yeah, De Gea, yeah, fine. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof. Maguire, Bailly, I think that's how you pronounce it. I keep saying Bailey, but Bailly, isn't it? I think how we pronounce that one. Shaw, Fred, McTominay, Bruno, of course, Ronaldo and Greenwood. Yeah, I mean, Stuart, I mean, obviously, I thought it was okay on paper, but I mean, there's no one to be frightened of, really. Before it's all right, we can talk Ronaldo, of course we can, Stuart, but he was the only one to be frightened. About Greenwood, he was a bit of a wild card for me. I didn't expect Greenwood to play. What did you think of that United lineup?
I don't mind that Greenwood. I think he's all right. He's just in a poor side, isn't he? But I think he'll come good here, unfortunately. Yeah, you don't really have to be worried about Ronaldo if you don't let him get over the halfway line. He's just inactive, isn't he, up the other end of the pitch for most of it. But yeah, it was quite a defensive side, I thought. If you look at the team, got like 7 defensive-minded players on out of 11. It didn't work, but I don't think we expected it to work, did we?
Well, Paul, yeah, talk about defensive side, Paul. We'll talk about that. I mean, did you think, obviously with no strikers, but did you think that was going to be a big problem, that finding a way through those guys?
It's always a problem, isn't it? It don't matter who you play, it's always a problem. But when you've got Aaron Maguire and Luke Shaw in your team, there's always a chance. I mean Lindelof, Bailey, there's nobody in there to fear, is there? You know, you see the United lineup, you don't look at it and think, oh God, no, he's playing. Oh no, you look at it and you just think like, would any of them players be starting in a lot of other teams? And I don't think some of them would. I don't even think they'd get into some teams then. I just look at their side and I'm not feared at all by it, apart from the pace up front. I mean, that was always going to be our Achilles heel, I think, as if they caught us on the break kind of thing. But I mean, the mood Ronaldo was in yesterday, he was like a 2-year-old kid, wasn't he? It was smack bottom.
Yeah, we'll come to you, Abdul. Did you have any fears at all from that team, apart from the obvious, obviously, that they could obviously Mr. Ronaldo would probably pop up with a goal, we thought, didn't we? I think when we talked about this before. Did you have any other fears that you thought?
No, actually. But if the only fear factor that I would think would be Fernandes, because all of the other games that he has played, he's been on fire. He has been playing really well. Obviously, with that link with Ronaldo, I thought they could be the dangerous side that could actually might draw or even score against us. But that didn't seem the case. So for me, the defense was we could easily have been broken down, and we did, because obviously with a knobhead like a Maguire playing, anyone can get past him. So no one for me. Only Fernandes was the fear factor for me.
Well, let's talk about the match. Obviously, we're going to probably concentrate more on the first half than the second half, which was more a controlling and just finish the job. Let's be honest about it, guys. And I think you just mentioned Maguire there, Abdul. And it was very early on. I think they had an half chance, didn't they, Stuart, with a cross. Was it a free kick? I think it was a free kick, and Maguire went up for it and got his slab head to it. But I mean, that was about it, Stuart, wasn't it? I mean, because I'm just going to quickly go on to the first goal, which was after 7 minutes. Can you sort of talk us through, Stuart, what happened with that one?
Can't really remember now, I don't think.
Well,
it just went in. It just went in. It just sort of bounced about, didn't it? And it just sort of edited in his own goal, I think.
No, well, you're useless, Paul. Tell us about this goal, Paul. You were at least sober at that time. Come on, surely.
No, I weren't much. I can't do much better than what she just said. I don't think it was a head, though, was it? It was off a foot.
Oh, flip
so
it out.
I could help out in that way. So, yeah, the ball just... Cancelo put the ball across, flicked up, hit his foot. And I tell you what, it was a beautiful finish.
No, I'm going to count you out, Paul, as
Richard
well,
Dunn,
because
Richard Dunn would be
Abdul
proud of
saved
that.
me, mate. Paul, you can go away. Abdul saved me from this torment from these guys who are too drunk to actually enjoy the victory and see what's going on. You're going to talk me through what happened, Abdul. Come on.
Well, obviously, we'll start with a beautiful cross by Cancelo, and obviously, maybe we should sign by because what a finish that was from him. What a finish that was. And obviously, after scoring that, we were just jumping. A goal's a goal, we could say that. It doesn't matter if we score or they own goal score. But obviously, Cancelo, he's been brilliant for us. Him, Bernardo, and Rodri, these three have been amazing for us. And I say we've absolutely robbed Juventus of. Obviously, giving them Danilo was a very good piece of business we have done because he's been brilliant for us. So that's for me.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not being,
just
I'm not being funny here, Charles, but Bernard.
Bernard to you.
That wasn't much different than what I said.
No, I'm going to go back now because I'm going to say before that, because I was quite sober when I was watching because I was driving, so I was sober. I think Gundogan had a great chance. I think the cross came in from the right, and Gundogan should have perhaps done a little bit better with it. And he sort of, rather than put it on goal, I think he put it across goal, but we managed to work it out to Cancelo. And as I said, I mean, Bailly was, poor De Gea. I mean, he didn't know what. I mean, for the first time yesterday, he didn't know what hit him. He was going to have a couple of those, wasn't he? Let's be honest about it. But just didn't even react to it. But I mean, the thing is, 26 minutes. Do you remember this, Stuart? We'll come back to you, Stuart. 26 minutes. That guy Ronaldo, who never seems to, when he gets his shot, it's always on target. Let's face it, it's always on target. I don't know what. I wish we could have a few like him on our team, but 26 minutes. I mean, Edison had to pull off quite an okay save. Do you remember anything about that one, Stuart? The right. Ronaldo effort.
Can I just say in my defence, the goal was at the other end of the ground, and I wear glasses and I struggle to see that far. But the save was right in front of us. I thought it was a real good save. I was as soon as it dropped to him, I thought, oh, he's going to put this away. And because I've said on here and on the other ones that we do that I don't think Edison saves a lot. But then yesterday, didn't have a lot to save. But when it comes to him, he proper pulled it out there. I thought it was a quality save.
But we got a bit lucky, didn't we, Paul, there? Because I thought Greenwood was going to pounce on it. He sort of came back to Greenwood and he sort of... I know he was under pressure. I can't remember the City defender, if anyone else can. I doubt it with you lot. But, he was under pressure from a City defender. But, Greenwood sort of managed to sort of slice it wide and it was a goal kick. Do you remember that one? But what were your thoughts, Paul? Do you remember that?
Well, I thought he did really well to parry it because he looked where he was parrying it to. You know, he didn't just make the save; he kind of pushed it round, if you like, and it did come to Greenwood, but it was going that quick off the save. It was, and I think it was Richard Dunn that was defending at that point. So yeah, I do remember the defender. It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now.
All coming back to you a bit like it's coming back to about 2 hours' time when we finish the screen. Don't worry about it. It'll be all right.
I've only been up an hour.
Right, Abdul, let's talk about De Gea because, to be honest with you, he kept United in it for in that first half, didn't he? I mean, the 29-minute where obviously I think that save from Jesus after KDB had a sort of weakish shot that sort of deflected back, and you just thought Jesus was going to bury it, didn't we? But that was a fantastic save from Jesus, and then you had the one he did from KDB out there shortly after as well. I mean, what do you think of De Gea, Abdul? I mean, what a goalkeeper! He was rubbish a couple of years ago. Now he's back. What's gone on? Because I mean, he was dropped for that Henderson guy, and I mean, he kept us out. He kept us at bay, didn't he, mate?
Yeah, looks to me he's all in. For me, he looks like he's all in. He was brilliant because if he didn't have made those saves that Jesus and De Bruyne, we would be like 5 or 4-0 up by halftime. Because he was actually really good for us. But obviously, our own Edison was equal to it. We are saving that Ronaldo volley, which I believe Stuart also said. That I also didn't think he would save that. But obviously, Edison might be working on his hands. I could see that. So for me, De Gea was actually really, really good.
I mean, You're going to go on to obviously towards the end of the half now. Obviously, you guys have probably had another pint or two, and you're probably struggling a little bit, Stuart and Paul. But and I'll be honest with you, but I'll tell you what. I'll come to you, Stuart, because there's no way you would have seen what happened with this one, because I think it took about 5 seconds for the City fans to react to what had happened. It took me about 5 seconds to react, and I was watching it on telly because I thought this thing had hit the side netting. And we talk about De Gea. I don't think he was particularly at fault. Actually, I think I blame his defenders in front of him. I mean, can you talk us through? I mean, obviously, you may have had a chance to watch it back on highlights now. Can you talk us through that Bernardo wonder? What a poacher's goal! That to me, I'd play Bernardo at number 9 all day long, because he's capable of these things. He never gives up. He never gives up on anything. I mean, just talk us through that one, Stuart, if you can.
Definitely a sloppy goal to concede. I mean, I know you're saying you can't really blame the goalie, but a goalie shouldn't be getting beat like that on his near post. So it's like no gap, and it's bounced off his chest and gone in. So it's it's a bit unlucky, but it is like practically thrown it in his own net after he's kept him in the game. And then with like the last couple of minutes of the first half, he's just thrown one in his own net and let himself down a bit, didn't he? But yeah, it was class from Bernard not giving up on anything. He didn't give up all day, did he? He just ran and ran and ran. Even towards the end when we were 2 up and it was in injury time, he was still chasing people down right on it. I thought it was class yesterday.
Yeah, Paul, I mean, just to say, I mean, in defence, again, I'm part of the keepers union, as you know, I've played a bit in a keeper myself. I mean, let's face it, if Mr. Maguire and then that wonderful Luke Shaw, who I quite like Luke Shaw. I think United fans have told me recently he's not been in much great form at the moment. I quite like him, but you can't blame the keeper, can you? Because, I mean, these two guys would give up on it. They thought it was going out. Why should De Gea think anything different? What would you say, Paul?
Well, he's a goalkeeper, so he should play until it's over the line and out off the pitch. So, you've got to blame the keeper. Unfortunate, it's one of them things, isn't it? But you know, as you and I, both goalkeepers of technical ability, you will realise that his body position was all wrong. His body position was completely wrong, and I said it straight away. I still can't believe how we got that in the back of the net, because there was nobody in the ground, and I don't even think Bernardo did, because he kind of got up off the floor and looked back to see the onion bag shaking, and that was honestly, he didn't think he thought he'd done it. He was looking for the ball and it was in back at net. It was beautiful. If you're going to score a goal against United, we don't be wanting these 30-yard screamers and these amazing goals. That is what we want. I think it was 28 passes before it, and then in the back of the net it went. It was beautiful, because we'll be talking about that for ages, and there'll be loads of little gifts turning up and loads of stuff we can rub the swamp dwellers' heads in. It's great.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I think it was calculated as 26 passes, which is the second only to 30 against Arsenal. With the Rodri, I think it was a Rodri goal against Arsenal was 30 passes, so it's second only to that this season as far as goals. So we'll come to you, Abdul. I mean, obviously, Bernardo. What a genius. I thought actually De Gea might have been checking the side of like the linesman check the nets for the second half. I think he was sort of checking that just early, so to save the linesman a job in the second half. But you can't. What about Bernardo? What do you think about Bernardo, Abdul? I mean, what a guy. I mean, if this guy leaves in January, we're going to be devastated, mate, aren't we?
Yeah, it's he's been great. I've said this before. Cancelo, Rodri, and him have been brilliant for us this season. Obviously, I believe he just won the Etihad Player of the Month, like 2 or 2 back to back. So that just goes to show you how good he is. So obviously, getting that goal in that tight space against there, obviously it was a De Gea error alongside with Maguire and Luke Shaw, but a goal's a goal. And he's just been brilliant for us. Every game that he's played, he's been brilliant for us, and I'm so glad he hasn't left us. Because if I believe Atletico was trying to buy him, but Atletico left out. They left out a big player. So, but we're glad that we kept him, and hopefully we see more of this in the future.
Right, well, that was it 2-0 at half-time, Paul. We've been there before. We know that against United, 2-0 up at half-time, strolling, if you like. We can think back not too far back to games where where we could have been 5 or 6 up at half time, and then it went on to lose a game. So I'm a typical City fan. I certainly wasn't overly confident. I know we did enough of that first half to think, oh, this is easy, this, but we couldn't believe United were going to be as poor again in the second half. I think they had about 10 minutes, didn't they, where they sort of give a good go in that first half. And I think when we talk about the second half, they had a very similar timescale in the second half as well, where at least it was 50-50, you know what I mean? It wasn't total City domination. But getting to you, Paul, I mean, 2-0, what did you think, mate? I mean, obviously, were you confident there of that?
No, never am. Never am, to be honest. I was expecting a 3-2, going to be a comeback. You're going to get Ronaldo hat-trick. He was just, they're going to turn it round. You know, I was expecting maybe Ferguson or Roy Keane or even Patrick, what's he called? Patrick Evra, I think his name is, that other idiot. I was expecting them to go in the changing room maybe at half-time and give them another masterclass, you know, and wind the players up, because I don't think Ollie's capable of it. So when they came out in the second half and they made a bit of a go of it for 5 minutes, I was like, oh God, here we go, another typical 3-2 defeat. And you know what? It didn't happen, did it? It didn't materialise. They puffed, but they couldn't blow the house down, could they? It was petered out, didn't it? Really.
Yeah, Stuart, I mean, that second half, I don't remember particularly Edison having to do too much looking back at it. We had a couple of chances to actually put it to bed. I mean, I was watching with the lad, and as far in as like the 75th minute, I must admit, I was still panicking a little bit. I think Gundogan had missed a good opportunity where he was put through and he miscontrolled it. I think Foden's was a bit later on, I think. But we're not too sure about the time of that penalty appeal, guys. Stuart, do you know what minute that was when Jesus was taken down?
It was late on, but it was a 100% penalty.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't sure if that was earlier in the Foden glancing the post thing. Any guys?
Definitely after that. It was after that.
Okay. Let's not talk about that. But let's just quickly say, I was worried up to about 70 minutes, 75 minutes, that Ronaldo would have one bit of magic again, or a second piece of magic that Edison wouldn't save. Are you typical City, Stuart? Did you think that in that second half?
Yeah, I mean, the people in the ground were not concerned at all from the minute we went 1-up. It was like, oh, people don't expect us to lose this. I looked at my mate and went, they're a bit overconfident. We've only been playing 10 minutes. And he said, I know, I can't bring myself to start dancing around yet, singing Ollie's at the wheel and all that with so much time left. But like you say, come the second half, I think Edison just had one with that he knocked out with his feet. Maybe that might have even been in the first half as well. And they didn't lay a glove on us really. They did the whole way through. I was in the pub last night, and some United fans were talking when I was in the toilet, and one of them said it was like a cat playing with a mouse before it killed him. And I thought, oh my days, that's what it was like. And he must have heard it on the telly because it sounded quite intelligent, so he couldn't have come up with it himself. So somebody must have said it, but that's exactly what I thought what it was like.
Well, let's say Abdul. I mean, you think back to the Liverpool game and obviously the 5-0. I mean, this was, that was just a straightforward, bullet to the head, wasn't it? This was more a slow torture thing, wasn't it? Let's be honest about it. It was just a drip of the water torture where you do these to interrogate people. We were even though I was worried, Stuart was worried. I'm sure Paul was worried a little bit as well because we're all typical City. It was just total control, Abdul, wasn't it? I mean, it was just, we didn't really have a right to be worried, did we?
Yeah, but when we went into the second half, I believe you said that in the first 10 minutes of the second half, they were trying to create chances. That actually reminded me of the time where we played at Anfield against Liverpool, because in the second half, they also created chances, and they were playing better than us.
Keep
Paul's
going.
It's all right.
Paul's got as I said, was at Anfield, right? So to me, I wasn't that scared of United. I wasn't that worried because I knew I wished Pep would have just told his players to just go and just score goals, but obviously that's not his style. He just likes to pass it around, controlled, and which goes to show that he knows how to play with his opponents.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, we did.
Yes, continue.
Yeah, I mean, we did sort of we did have chances to put it to bed at 3-0, which would have made me happy. It would have made Stuart happy, and obviously Paul, who's currently disappeared, but we may come back. We'll see. He's gone to get another beer, I think, out of the fridge or something like that. But he brought on his stars, didn't he? I mean, Stuart Ollie. I mean, this was the magic of Ollie, wasn't it? I mean, he had Van der Beek walking, strolling up and down that touchline, didn't he? Van der Beek. He brought on Sancho, desperation tactics. He brought him on. I mean, he just got a bit. What's the word? Just wild, didn't he, Ollie? Just living in hope. Well, I don't think it was tactical. I just think he panicked and started throwing anything at the game. What do you think, Stuart?
The whole Sancho thing to me was a bit weird. It's like a bit weird when he came up, because he came on right at the start of the second half. He'd had the players out on the pitch before City came out, way before City came out, warming up like they were the reserves or something. So he must have sent them out. He must have sent them out of the dressing room. And then Sancho comes on, and I thought, how was he expecting to get a tune out of Sancho? Now, when he's just snubbed him all season, and then he brings Van der Beek on and expects him to go and change the game, when he's barely played him since the day you bought him. And you're not going to get a tune out of a player like that when he thinks, well, he doesn't even want me in the team anyway, so why am I even bothering? And then the whole Ronaldo thing, the guy behind us just shouted, "Give it to Gordon." And it's like that thing. Like, have you ever seen the film Kes Abdul?
No, I don't think I have.
They have a football game in a PE teacher in that, and that's his whole tactic for the game. Is just give it to Gordon up front, and somebody just yelled.
That's not Kes. That's Jimmy Grimble.
Oh, is it Jimmy Grimble, that one?
Yeah. Come on, Stuart.
I thought it was Kes. I knew it was summer.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as I say, the second half were dominant. I mean, but just a quick word on Ronaldo. He has a little bit of a nasty streak, doesn't he? We know that, guys. He has this little nasty streak that sort of appears every now and then when he's playing games. He did it the other week, didn't he, when he should have been sent off, in my opinion, when he kicked a ball at a player's midriff. And not just kicked it, but absolutely leathered it at the guy's midriff. And what about that afters? Paul's back with us. I'll just ask Paul now. He's back. He's got his beard. He's just topped up. Yeah, Ronaldo, Paul. I mean, what was I mean, to me, I would have sent him off. I wouldn't have just booked him when he had that little go at KDB right at the end. KDB had been fouled anyway, and then Ronaldo comes in and does a little bit extra. I mean, what's that about, mate? For a guy that's as skillful and as supposedly brilliant as him. I mean, and he gets away with it, doesn't he, Paul? What do you think, mate?
We see it all the time with Ronaldo. He's like a petulant kid. When it's not going his way, his hands on his hips, he's puffing and blowing. And I mean, that yesterday, I mean, the referee had blown for the foul. The ball was off the pitch, and out of camera shot, it came out of control, both feet in the air, straight to KDB. That's instant dismissal. That's not even let's have a look at that. Let's VAR. Let's have a check. That's instant dismissal. And to be honest with you, I don't know whether you can do it or not, but that should be a retrospective. That should be a red card. That was disgusting, and I'm trying to think of a nice word to call it, but it's got a house in it. That's the sort of challenge that he did, and it was pathetic and petulant. But that to me is Ronaldo, and that's why to me Messi's always going to be better than him, because it's just unprofessional and embarrassing to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but he'll never get done if in retrospect. It's Ronaldo, isn't it? So he'll get away with it. Like in the same way that, as Stuart was saying before, that penalty decision was, I think he probably did get a bit of the ball, but even from the referee's angle, he wouldn't have seen that. So he should have given a penalty and then checked it, in my opinion. He might have reversed his opinion if VAR said he'd slightly, because the ball did deviate. I did watch it very about 20 million times, which you can't do during the game. But you're telling me that referee from where he was, so that I'm sorry, he should have given a penalty straight away, and then it should have been reviewed, in my opinion. Anyway, that's the sort of thing. Stuart, the stats of the game were interesting. Obviously, United 5 shots, 1 on target. I think it was obviously been said, hasn't it? Obviously, their defence had more shots than their guys on our goal, didn't they? On his own goalkeeper. We had 16 shots, which isn't much, but I think the basis that we did just control the game. We just play. I think we were happy at 2-0, and if we got a third, we got a third. If we didn't, we didn't. I think that was basically how we played that second half, and I've seen City do that before. 16 shots, 5 on target, 68% possession for City. Pass completions are 91% for City, which is amongst the highest that we do. We're always in the high 80s or early 90s, so that was pretty good. 389 passes for United, 821 for City. Yeah, I mean, their passes were pretty lethargic, weren't they, Stuart? I mean, that sort of sums the game up, mate, doesn't it? What do you think?
Yeah, and like you say, their passes were a bit lethargic. If you put that Fred under pressure, he'd just give it you straight back, wouldn't it? You just pass it to nobody, and you could do. Then City player was just running onto it every time. Yeah, like I say, they didn't lay a glove on us all day, and they had the one game plan was just to try and feed Ronaldo through. I mean, I think he got offside in like the centre circle at one point, like he was that far ahead of play, and he just oofed it, and then he was offside.
Yeah, I mean, Abdul, obviously those stats show the game, don't they? I mean, obviously the good thing is as well, a bit later on, Chelsea dropped points, which was fantastic for us. Let's have a talk about the man of the match, guys. I mean, I think the defence, I don't think there's anyone outstanding. I think he didn't have to be outstanding, did he, in the defence? Obviously going to be one of our 7 midfielders, isn't it, as far as the man of the match is concerned. So I'll come to you, Abdul. Who stood out for City? I had a couple of guys on the same points, but I did stump down on one in the end. But what do you think of that performance? Who stood out for you?
For me, in the City Twitter page, I believe they showed the man of the match was Rodri, but for me, it was definitely Bernardo. He was brilliant. As I've said again before, that he's been brilliant for us for every game he's played, and he's been brilliant for this game as well. So he was my man of the match, obviously making those passes, that goal, a lucky goal, if I might say. So he's my man of the match for me.
Paul, have you any thoughts on that? Obviously, he was certainly one of my favourite players yesterday. Have you had any deviation to that? Obviously, Rodri's getting a lot of love on the social media, and Cancelo's getting a lot of love on social media. I mean, even I thought of the defenders, John Stones was outstanding, considering he's not been playing that many games. I thought, given the opposition, the fact they weren't very good, I still was. He nearly had a goal, didn't he? We forgot to mention that, didn't we? If he just swiveled a little bit better, we could have had a third goal. And he likes scoring against United, like Bernardo does, doesn't he? Let's be honest about it. But who do you think, Paul? Who stood out on City's team for you?
You say Walker. I think he played well. He goes under the radar every week. I think he's a steady player, and I think he's one of our best signings, to be honest. Consistency basis recent over the last few seasons. Yeah, it could have been Bernardo, it could have been Rodri, it could have been Cancelo. I think all of them played well. Phil Foden, Phil Johnson, Phil Foden again played back up to his standard. It could have been any one of them, to be honest. As a team, they played perfect, and to be honest, that was for me. That was a bigger battering than the 6-1. The 6-1, we had breakaway goals and we scored them and we took our chances. We just totally dominated that game yesterday. We absolutely battered them, and the score, it was 2-0. They were lucky to get 0 in my eyes.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll come to you, Stuart. I mean, I must admit, when I was listening to the phone-ins after and stuff like that, a lot of United fans are coming up with the thing we used to come up with many, many years ago. They're not fit to wear the shirt. All we want is a bit of effort and all this sort of thing. Echoing what we probably said 20, 30 years ago when we used to play United. All we wanted them to show was a little bit of graft, a little bit of fight, and that's all we ever asked of City fans in those days. And obviously, United fans are having a very similar feeling at the moment when it comes to these sort of games against if you like, not the rivals, because they're not really on our level, are they? Let's be honest about it. They think they are, but they're not quite at the moment. But so, your favourite player yesterday, Stuart? Anyway, what would you say? You're going to sit on the fence like Paul and say everybody, or
no? They were all outstanding, and then like Rodri gets a mention, but he's in one of them positions where it's not like a fashionable position, is it? So he's sort of easy to miss him. It's a bit like when Gareth Barry or someone, he was outstanding every week, but we never get applauded. It's because it's just that sort of position in it. But no, he's back to his best now, I think, and Bernardo Silva for me. I think he had like a bit of a dodgy season. Was it last season or the one before where we had that trouble with Mendy, and he was a bit. I think the press and that got to him a bit, but now he's back to his best now, and I hope he stays forever.
Yeah, I mean, I'll personally, my 2 highest rated guys yesterday, as I said, they all started high anyway yesterday as a team performance with Cancelo and Bernardo. And on reflection, although I thought Cancelo was brilliant, I had to give it Bernardo again. I'm sick of giving it him this season. I seem to every other game he gets it for me, to be honest with you. But Before we finish, guys, I'm just going to have a quick laugh at the ratings in the local paper for the United team. If you want to just listen while I shout them out, I don't want any comments about it. Just for a bit of fun, just for a bit of light-heartedness. So, yeah, I won't mention the paper, but you probably know which local paper I'm talking about. David De Gea, 7 out of 10. I totally wouldn't disagree with that, guys. I thought that was excellent. Now it gets a little bit funnier. Wan-Bissaka, 1 out of 10. That's not bad, is it?
So it's one Bissaka instead of
1.1.
One Bissaka.
One Bissaka.
Right, not too. Come on, calm down, lad. There might be some United fans watching this. You don't know. Lindelof got a 5. That's okay, isn't it? It's half and half. That's not too bad. Bailly, he got a 4. He's probably got that for the goal. I'm not too sure. He got a 4 for that. Yeah. Harry Maguire got a 5. I thought that was quite generous, considering.
He must have pictures. Of it.
Luke Shaw got a 4. I think that's just he got injured. I think they felt a bit sorry for him there. Give him a 4.
Did he get injured? I thought he just went off fat.
Oh no, he did try and come back on, guys. He did make the effort to start again, but he had to come off in the end.
He got diabetes, I think that's
I mean, the midfield dynamos of McTominay and Fred both got 4, so they got 4 out of 10. I think it'd be very generous, actually.
4 between them or 4 each?
No, yeah, 4 each, unfortunately. Yeah, not two each. Bruno got a 3. I forgot he was playing apart from his moaning face, to be honest with you. I didn't
he didn't shut up, did he? He did not shut up.
The thing is, Bernardo's exactly the same, but you can't hate Bernardo's groaning because it's so funny. It's just he shrugs and he's just. And Bruno's just a mad ass, so that's the difference, really. Greenwood got a 4, but he didn't have much chance, I don't think. And Ronaldo, I think this is a bit cruel, actually, because he didn't really get much service. I don't think, and he seemed to sort of work a little bit for me. He only got a 5. I thought Ronaldo was a bit better than that, to be honest with you.
I had him a 3.
Anyway, they were interested. Right, got a great win, and we're all happy. I'll see all the rags in work tomorrow, so that'll be fun for me anyway. So back to work tomorrow. It makes going at 3 a.m. worthwhile when there's a few you can have a laugh at. Right, we're going to have a look at the international break very briefly. Just one little thing on each one of these. We've got obviously the players travelling again. Tuchel's come out today and obviously said a lot of his side are a bit tired for these international breaks and stuff. It's not great, is it? I'll come to you, Abdul. I mean, obviously, we know KDB's suffering as far as City are concerned. I mean, this is the 3rd this season, Abdul. Can they not do something better with this? And all FIFA want to do is throw more games at us. I mean, they promise that it's not going to overwork the players. But, Abdul, it's something we don't need, surely, is all these international breaks.
Well, then what can we do? It's FIFA. With rules are rules, and we can't do anything about it. The thing that you just said, FIFA, about adding more games, like we should remember that these players are humans. They need their rest. We should care about their health mostly, because obviously watching them is a delight for us. We don't want anything to happen to them. So obviously, I believe De Bruyne has been picked for the Belgium squad. I believe he also had an ankle injury. So I don't know what Roberto Martinez is doing for me. I have no idea.
Well, that's it, Stu, because, I mean, KDB apparently played with an injury for Belgium, didn't he, recently? And obviously it ruins him for us. I mean, what are your thoughts, Stuart, on this?
Is he going to international thing? I thought he would have got left out, or he would have said, I don't want to go, because you haven't been right, has he, all season?
Yeah, I don't think it's been confirmed. I've not seen any confirmation yet. Was he named in the squad? I think he might have been named in the squad, might he? But obviously you can drop out. Of course you can do that. But it's the general thing, isn't it, Stuart? It's just, as you say, if Tuchel's saying it, I mean, all right, I don't think Tuchel often comes out and says too much, does he? But it must be affecting everyone, not just City, of course. It affects other clubs, but obviously, we've got to think about the players more, haven't we, Stuart?
Yeah, this seems to be, this season, the most international breaks in a short space of time that I can ever remember. To be on the 3rd one, we've had like 10 games of the season yet, and I think we've got another one before Christmas, haven't we? Is there a 4th one before? I'm not sure. I might have just made that up because I drink too much.
Yeah, I don't think there is. I think it's next year now.
Right.
I thought there was another one, but that might be the same pub we're drinking from.
But surely they could have just said, right, we need to have these extra games for whatever reason it is, qualifying or whatever, but we're going to have 2 international breaks and you're going to play weekend, midweek, weekend, and you get 3 games in there, and 3 games in there. It doesn't, so have 2 games here, 2 games here. Just play the same amount of games, but stop interrupting the actual league season.
Yeah, it is what it is, as the old sayings goes, isn't it? It is what it is. We have to put up with it. But Paul, do you think we should sort of say to some of these managers, like the Belgian manager, no, he's not going, mate. He's not fully fit, and you're not having him and stuff like this. Do you think the clubs aren't, are too eager to sort of, go? Of course, the players want to play internationals. Of course you do. You want to play for your shirt. You want to put your international shirt on. Of course you do. But even they must think, I'm not really up for this. I'm not really ready for it. I don't assume they do much training, Paul, in these camps. Where they go away. It's just be the game and a bit of light training. I would have thought. I don't think they sort of do a lot. But what do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think the problem is affecting us a little bit more than most because we've half the teams there. We've got 5 players in the international, in the England squad. So I think from an England point of view, it's you've just hit on it. You've hit on the head there. It depends on the player, I think, and how desperate he is to play. I mean, somebody like Kevin De Bruyne could quite easily say, "No, I'm not fit," and it's not going to affect him because as soon as he is fit, he's going in the team. But some other players who have maybe just got into the side, they might not want to miss out on it, So it is difficult, but you've got to remember who pays your wages at the end of the day. And, Kevin De Bruyne getting injured, that highlights the problems that he's had since he got injured playing for his country. He's not been right all season for us. So, at some point, you've got to make that decision as a player. What's more important, your bread and butter, or you're getting a few international caps? But he's going to be playing in the finals if they're going to get there, aren't they? So he's going to be in that team. It's not like he's playing for his position at all.
Well, as always, we hope they all come back fit and well, and obviously we don't want clubs suffering because obviously players get injured on international duty. But it is, as I say, it is what it is. We've said it before. But interesting enough, obviously very important because after the international break, guys, we're just going to have a quick look now at the City versus Everton, which is the next game coming up at the old Etihad. Everton, yes, a new manager who started very, very well, Abdul, didn't he? He started very well. He's not doing so well lately, though, isn't he? I think the last 6 games, they managed to win against Norwich, but that's about it. They've drawn a couple and they've lost 3. I mean, has the old magic stopped? Have we got to be scared of Everton? What do you think, Abdul?
No, easy 3 points, I would say. Easy 3 points. Well, Rafa Benitez, I also believe that he might actually change Everton, actually competing with, most of the clubs in the Premier League. But obviously, I believe he also lost against Watford, a 5-2 defeat. A great comeback by Watford. But for me, it's easy 3 points. We can easily outplay them. Easy 3 points.
Yeah, Stuart, and the confidence there. I'll just tell you the stats on when Everton last beat us and sort of what they've done against us quite recently. But yeah, Benitez busted flush already, Stuart. I mean, after 11 games, is he already gone? I mean, the Everton fans will be, pickaxes and fired torches soon, going to Goodison to try and get him into trouble. Or try and get him kicked out, I think. What do you think, Stuart? Do you think it's just a blip, or is Benitez going to turn this lot around?
I think given time he'll do all right there. I mean, he started off all right. They're fading away a bit now, aren't they? But the fans aren't going to give him any time because they don't want him there anyway because of his Liverpool connections. The only way he had of surviving there was to hit the ground running and maintain it because as soon as it's gone a bit the other way, they're like, no, get him out. We don't want him. But yeah, I think we shouldn't have any problems. It depends how they set up. If they come in and just try and defend like we've seen, and they can nick a goal, give them something to hold on to. We do struggle. I think we seem to struggle more at home than we do away from home as well with that sort of thing. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, I think if Everton come and try and play, they're just going to get a kick in.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, they've got their last couple of away games. They got a draw at United 3 or 4 games ago, and they actually got beat at Wolves as well, who have a bit of a resurgence, aren't they, Wolves? Let's be honest about it. But do you see any problems with Everton, Paul?
My head says no. I can't see him. They just haven't got enough quality around the pitch to worry us. But my heart, a City fan. I've been doing it for 52 years. So there's always a problem, isn't there? There's always, it'd be just us to have destroyed United and let Everton come and beat us or something stupid like that. There's always something in us, isn't there? I wish I was as optimistic as Abdul, but I can never be. It's just installed in me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, last season was a bit of a straw, wasn't it? The last game of the season, obviously, I couldn't get a ticket for that, for the celebration, for the trophy lift, a 5-0 win. That was quite comfortable. Unusual circumstances, of course, but you have to go back to December 2010 for the last time they beat us at the Etihad. Yet used to always seem to do that pretty well against us. But having said that, they've drawn 3 times since. They drew twice in 2016, both the 16-17 and 15-16 season. They drew at the Etihad in 2017, but obviously the last 3 or 4 seasons we've managed to get a bit of a hoodoo on them. I'll come to you, Abdul. Obviously, team-wise, we've got fingers crossed. Everyone comes back from the international breaks. Would you see us think a similar team to United, or would you think someone's gonna rest a few for this one after the international break and take a chance? What do you think, Abdul?
Well, if we hope that there are no injuries, I believe Pep might actually play the same team. Obviously, taking out Laporte, because we've seen against United how crucial this Diaz and Stones partnership is, because they're amazing defenders. Now, the main problem would be De Bruyne, because obviously this season he hasn't been well. But if he does come back injury free, or if he does, be fit for us, then he might play for us again. Otherwise, I would see him being dropped out of the team for Gundogan or someone else. So other than that, I believe Pep is going to play the same team.
Yeah, on to you, Stu. I mean, this sit 11th now, Everton. Obviously, we sit obviously before Liverpool's game. We are recording this, so obviously we sit second at the moment behind Chelsea before Liverpool's game, and they're 11th, which doesn't, as I said, after that last 6 games, they've not done too well. We could probably afford to rest a couple of guys. I'm thinking KDB for this, and obviously rely on the others for this one. Stuart, what do you think?
Like Abdul says, if De Bruyne is fit or he doesn't play for Belgium, then and then he's rested, then you think he has to go in the team, doesn't he? Because he is world class. But for me, the same team, you can't really say anybody should be dropped or rested, because they all did well, didn't they? You won't go, oh, he was no good, so get him out and get someone else in. Diaz and Stones is definitely our best centre back pairing, and Walker and Cancelo are my favourite fullbacks for us as well, because they do both jobs going forward and backwards really well. But yeah, I would just keep it the same. Maybe you might see Grealish coming back in. Just depends what happens with England, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Paul, I was just going to say then, just the last word with you on this. Obviously, I was thinking Grealish then, because I don't think he's done anything too wrong. I think he's trying to do what Pep's asked him to do. I think it'll be a tactical switch with Grealish eventually. I don't think he'll be playing out on that left-hand side all the time. I think people like Foden will be preferred, and he'll move somewhere else, up the middle or whatever, I think, long-term. But yeah, I mean, will Grealish be a bit upset if he's not in this one, Paul? If we do sort of stick with that team that won at Old Trafford, do you think? I don't personally. I think he's the sort of lad who'll take it on the chin and get on with it. But what do you think, mate?
Yeah, I think he's been not lucky. Lucky is the wrong word, but I think he's been lucky to be in. Has had as many games as he's had. Coming to the club, so he's. I don't think he's missed many. So. I know he's any player that comes to City now, any player that City's signed over the last couple of years knows the situation, knows the quality on the bench and the squad depth. So yeah, you've got to get your head around it. And if he has a blinder for England, then you don't know, he could be back in there. But that's to me, that was the best side that we've got that we played yesterday. That's our strongest side, I think. And he's got, if he doesn't like sitting on the bench every now and then, well, he's at the wrong club, isn't he?
Yeah, I think any player that comes to City know that, don't they? Obviously, before they come. I will have a final word, Stu. Anything we've not covered today that you wanted to have a chat about? And obviously, we just sort of glowing what happened yesterday, obviously at Old Trafford. But anything you want to just have a quick mention
from yesterday?
Well, anything, mate. Anything to do with City that's perhaps we've not touched upon today.
I was just going to say about yesterday, I thought the referee was appalling. Every time somebody blew on a United player and he went down. He couldn't wait to blow his whistle, and he was like hacking us down, pushing us all over our backs, and then he just wouldn't give anything, or he didn't seem to want to give anything. And as we are speaking now, Liverpool are getting beat 1-0.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's very good.
Well, put it this way: by the time this goes out, they probably won 5-1. But I mean, I wouldn't get too giddy. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was Mr. Oliver. What was it, Oliver yesterday?
Yeah.
Oliver. Yeah. Abdul, anything? I mean, obviously on Oliver or anything else that you want to mention about City? Anything that we've perhaps not touched upon?
No, it's everything has been covered for me. But I'll just get ready to meet you guys again after the international break to talk more about City. So that's going to be fun.
Super. Paul, anything?
No, I think
I don't want to keep you from your beer, mate. You know, I don't want to keep you from that beer.
I've got school in the morning, so that's beer done. I get it all done on a Friday or a Saturday, and then I've got a day to recover. No, I think Stuart's bang on with what he said there about the referee. I think it's gone under the radar a little bit because we won. You know, so we tend to forget about it. But you know, them inconsistencies are shocking. You know, them decisions he made yesterday were very poor. I mean, there's a thing with this, you know, if it's a head injury, then, you know, you have to pull the game back. Ronaldo went down because he fell over and he stopped the game and pulled it back for him. And it's just stuff like that. You're thinking, nah, this corruption here, that's the only explanation for it. You can't be that bad.
Well, cheers, guys. Anyway, it's been great having a chat, about our great team and obviously a couple of good things to talk about today, was it? So my thanks, of course, to Stuart, Abdul and Paul for joining me today. My thanks to everyone who's listening in, all you City fans out there who obviously enjoying being a City fan at the moment, and that's all there is to it. Anyway, I'd like to thank you on behalf of Manchester Local TV and In Good Company, and don't forget to join us again very, very soon. So thanks for watching, everyone, and please stay safe.